There's a world that awakens between midnight and dawn, a world of shadows, strange noises, and profound loneliness. For most, it's a fleeting glimpse. For night workers, it's reality. The silence and isolation can play tricks on the mind, or reveal things we're not meant to see. The stories you're about to hear come from real people who face the inexplicable in the loneliest hours. Their names are changed, but their terror is real. So, turn down the lights and let's step into the darkness together. Our first story takes us to a city hospital, a place where the line between life and death is crossed every day, and where the night brings a silence that feels almost sacred. Hospitals at night are different, quieter, lonelier, and sometimes a little unsettling. Here, Anna, a veteran night nurse with years of experience, was beginning her shift. She was known for her calm under pressure, her gentle bedside manner, and her ability to handle even the strangest situations with a steady hand. That night, Anna was assigned to the nearly abandoned East Wing, a part of the hospital that had seen better days, now mostly empty as renovations slowly crept along. Only one patient was registered that night, in room 305. The rest of the room stood empty, their doors closed, the lights off. The rest of the floor was empty, silent. The only sounds were the distant hum of the city outside and the occasional creak of old pipes. Anna settled in for what she expected to be a quiet shift, grateful for a rare moment of peace in her demanding job. The hum of machines was her only company, their steady rhythm almost comforting in the stillness of the night. But at 2:45 a.m., a sharp, piercing beep suddenly shattered the calm, jolting Anna from her paperwork. The call light for room 313 blinked on. Anna frowned, confusion flickering across her face. She knew that room was supposed to be empty. That room had been vacant for months, stripped bare for renovations. No bed, no equipment, no patient, just dust and echoes. Assuming it was a glitch in the old wiring, Anna moved to reset the board. But before she could, the intercom suddenly crackled to life, startling her. A desperate, whispering voice came through. "Help me!" Anna froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The voice sounded weak, pleading, and unmistakably real. She immediately called security, who checked the surveillance cameras and confirmed she was alone on the floor. No one had entered or left the East Wing all night. Against her instincts, Anna walked the long, cold hallway to room 313. The air felt colder with every step, and the silence pressed in around her. The door was ajar, as if inviting her in. Inside, she found only dust, an empty bed frame, and nothing else. The room was untouched, undisturbed, and yet the feeling of being watched lingered. Shaken, Anna returned to her station, her mind racing with questions and doubts. Had she imagined the voice? Was it just a trick of the old intercom system? She tried to rationalize the event, telling herself it was just fatigue or a technical malfunction. But the fear lingered, refusing to be explained away. The rest of her shift was spent glancing nervously down the dark corridor, every shadow seeming to move, every sound amplified by her anxiety. The next morning, Anna confided in Carol, the day nurse, about the strange call. Carol's face turned serious, her eyes narrowing. "Room 313?" she asked, her tone suddenly hushed. Carol pulled up an old patient file. Mr. Harrison, a terminal patient who died in that very room a year ago. She remembered him well. He'd spent his last hours pressing the call button, convinced no one was coming. The nurses had done their best, but he always seemed to be waiting for someone who never arrived. The nurse's notes from that night recorded his final words. "Help me." The same desperate plea Anna had heard through the intercom. The time of death? 2:47 a.m., the exact moment Anna heard the voice. The coincidence was chilling, impossible to ignore. Anna stared at the screen, her heart pounding, as the pieces fell into place. The hospital, it seemed, had not forgotten Mr. Harrison's final moments. The words she'd heard were identical to the man's last plea, echoing through the years, as if his spirit was still reaching out for help that never came. The empty room seemed to hold on to his voice, the plea for help lingering in the air, echoing through the empty halls exactly 1 year later. After that night, Anna never worked the East Wing again. Some stories, she realized, are best left behind closed doors. Kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel. Our second story. Mark, a security guard, worked nights in a 20-story office tower. The building loomed over the city, its glass and steel reflecting the glow of distant streetlights. Most nights, Mark's only company was the hum of the air conditioning and the echo of his own footsteps on polished floors. Most shifts were uneventful, just empty halls and silent monitors. The building felt like a ghost town after midnight, with only the occasional creak or distant elevator ping to break the silence. Mark would sip his coffee, eyes scanning the monitors, waiting for dawn. But one night, at exactly 3:30 a.m., something changed. Mark noticed a figure on the 14th floor's camera feed, a floor that should have been completely deserted. The 14th floor was locked and under renovation with plastic sheeting and exposed wires everywhere, yet a tall, thin silhouette stood at the end of the dimly lit hallway, motionless and out of place. Mark zoomed in, but the image was grainy, the figure's features lost in static. It didn't move, didn't even seem to breathe. Mark's heart pounded as he stared, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. He prepared to investigate, grabbing his flashlight and keys. But just as he stood, his cell phone rang, a blocked number, the screen glowing in the darkness. He answered, voice trembling. There was only static at first, then a distorted, unnatural voice whispered, "I see you!" The words seemed to echo through the empty room. Mark's blood ran cold. He spun back to the monitor. The figure was gone, as if it had never been there at all. The hallway was empty, the plastic sheeting unmoved. He frantically cycled through the feeds, searching every floor, every corner. Nothing. The building was empty, silent as a tomb. Trying to calm himself, Mark forced his gaze to the lobby camera, hoping for reassurance, for something normal. But there, in the center of the marble lobby, stood the same figure, impossibly tall, thin, and utterly still. It stared directly into the camera, as if it knew Mark was watching. It wore an old-fashioned suit, the fabric faded and out of time. Its limbs were too long, its posture unnaturally rigid, as if it had been waiting there for years. The fluorescent lights cast sharp shadows, making the figure seem even more unreal. Mark was paralyzed with fear. The doors were locked, no alarms had been triggered, and yet the figure was inside. He felt trapped, unable to move or even breathe. The figure didn't move. It just watched, unblinking, as if waiting for Mark to make the next move. The silence in the control room was deafening. Suddenly, the image flickered violently, the overhead lights buzzed and dimmed, and the screen filled with static. Mark's heart raced as the control room seemed to close in around him. When the feed finally cleared, the lobby was empty. The figure had vanished without a trace, leaving only the echo of fear behind. Mark didn't hesitate. He bolted from the building, heart pounding, and called his supervisor from the safety of the empty street outside, his hands shaking. Later, security logs showed no entry, no alarms, just a 3-second power surge at the exact time the figure vanished from the cameras. No one could explain it. Mark quit the next day, never to work another night shift. The memory of the watcher on the 14th floor haunted him, a chilling reminder that some things are better left unseen. Our third story. Chloe, a late-night radio DJ, hosted midnight melodies in a small, old station on the edge of town. The building was a relic from another era, its walls lined with faded posters and the faint scent of dust and vinyl records lingering in the air. Most nights, Chloe's only company was the soft glow of the control board and the distant hum of the transmitter. One quiet night, as rain tapped against the windows and the clock crept past midnight, a phone line she'd never seen active, line 4, began to flash insistently. The light was an eerie, pulsing red, cutting through the darkness of the studio. Chloe hesitated, her hand hovering over the receiver, curiosity and unease warring inside her. Finally, she answered. Only labored, wet breathing came through the line, slow and unnatural, as if someone was struggling to speak but couldn't form words. The sound sent a chill down her spine, making her grip the receiver tighter. She glanced through the studio window, heart pounding, and saw a shadowy figure standing in the dark, unused main studio, clutching an old rotary phone to its ear. The figure was motionless, its features obscured by the gloom, but Chloe felt its gaze fixed on her. The phone line for that room had been dead for years. Chloe knew it for a fact. No one should have been able to use it, let alone call her from it. The realization made her skin crawl. The breathing continued, in her ear, growing louder, and as Chloe watched, the figure's movements seemed to mirror her own. Every slight turn of her head, every tremble of her hand, echoed in the shadow's posture. Panic rising, Chloe tried to keep calm on air, her voice trembling as she introduced the next song. Suddenly, her headphones filled with a distorted version of her own voice, warped and echoing, whispering her name over and over, as if someone, or something was right beside her. Chloe! I'm on the air with you, Chloe! The words slithered through the static, chilling her to the core. It was her own voice, but twisted, unfamiliar, and filled with malice. She ripped off her headphones, heart racing, eyes locked on the unmoving figure in the other studio. For a moment, time seemed to freeze as they stared at each other across the darkness. It slowly lowered the phone, its movements deliberate and unnatural, then turned its unseen gaze directly toward her, as if acknowledging her fear. Chloe fled the studio, stumbling through empty halls, her footsteps echoing in the deserted building. She didn't stop until she reached her car, breathless and shaking. The image of the figure burned into her mind. The next day, desperate for answers, Chloe checked the call log. It showed a single incoming call to line 4, from a number that didn't exist. At the exact time, Chloe's world changed forever. She never worked another night shift again. Our fourth story. Ben worked the overnight ghost shift at a massive, mostly empty factory. One night, exhausted, he saw a stern-faced man in an old company uniform standing on the catwalk above. The man pointed insistently at Ben's hydraulic press. Ben turned back to his work, but as he reached into the machine, a loud clank sounded behind him. In a split second, something yanked him backward, just as the press slammed shut, malfunctioning early. If he hadn't been pulled away, he would have lost his arms. Shaken, Ben looked for his rescuer. The catwalk was empty. The next day, Ben described the man to the plant's oldest foreman, George. George showed him a photo from 1978. The man was Frank, a former supervisor known for his strict safety rules. Frank had died saving a worker from the same press decades ago. Ben realized he'd been saved by the factory's resident ghost, Frank, still enforcing safety from beyond the grave. A hospital that remembers its patients, an office tower with an unseen watcher, a radio station haunted by voices, a factory guarded by a ghost, 4 workers, 4 encounters, one chilling truth: the night is never truly empty. For Anna, Mark, Chloe, and Ben, the darkness revealed what daylight hides. So next time you work the night shift and hear a strange sound, remember these stories. The night holds secrets we're only beginning to understand. You might not be as alone as you think. Sometimes, that's comforting. Other times, it's terrifying. Stay safe out there.